Hi, it's Jnwynn with Scraptastic Yarns Podcast. Today is July the 3rd, and it's almost 4th of July. Yay! I thought I would show you a picture of what I spent 2 days this past week doing, and I will put that in here. And this is the finished item. It's nice and rolled up into a nice little bowl, center pull ball, because I like to use center pull. And there is my nice big yarn bowl that my friend's son makes. And he's been selling them for about $20-$25. And we've kept telling him he needs to raise his prices because these are very large bowls. They're probably about the size of probably 9 inches across, maybe 10. Maybe I should measure that. Let's do that, just for grins and giggles. Yeah, they're 8.5 inches across. Some of them are a little bigger, some of them are a little smaller. He generally uses wood that he's found out in nature. So he's not cutting anything down. These are items that either people have cut down trees or whatnot on their own. So, he's not killing the forest, let's put it that way. But he does a fantastic job with them. So that is the one thing I spent 2 days on, unscrambling that huge mess. Some of the other things that I've finished, another hat with some of that nice big thick yarn. This was a hat with some of that scrap yarn that I've gotten at Scraps and Skeins. I did finish a pair of mittens men's mittens. These are knitted. These are going to go with one of the other hats I have over there finished that I showed you months ago that's got some deep browns in it. That will go with that hat set, and then I am working on a scarf, although I don't have enough of that dark brown, but I'm going to mix it with some tan and some other browns. And I think it'll go with the hat as well. This was some more of that dove yarn that I had left over. Mixed it with one of the charcoals. And that turned out real nice. And of course, the finished dove scarf. So it'll go with the hat. I've got just a little smidgen of this left. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to make mittens with this charcoal color and then do some edging around it with the dove. Now with this one, I did the crab stitch around the bottom for a decorative stitch just to kind of get it out of the way. Let me get these over here and out of the way. I have not been doing a whole lot of crocheting or knitting this week. I think I told you last week about the back pain that I've been having. X-rays came back. It's not anything with arthritis or anything in the hip that was waking me up at night to where I wasn't getting any sleep. So she did some, regular manipulation, and it looks like it's either a herniated disc or maybe I think it's called piriformis, where that sciatica nerve gets trapped in your butt muscle, basically. You need to learn to loosen it up. Started some physical therapy. I don't mind doing the exercises, but at the very end, they tend to want to hook you up to the stimulation, TENS unit This is a physical therapy unit that they use. And she did that for the first time. Normally I use heat with my back, just because the times that I've gotten into a hot car, it feels good against my back. So she wanted to try some ice, so we tried ice. And I did expect a little bit of pain because of the way that it stimulates the muscles and you do have some contractions. While I was there, I was having a lot of back spasms, so we wanted to avoid provoking a back spasm. I had a fairly low setting at 9 for both sides of the spinal cord. And I expected muscle soreness because, that's generally what happens after that a few days later or later on in the evening. But what I didn't expect was after I got home and about 30 minutes later, I had excruciating pain down my back, down both legs and around to the front of the shins. I had a lot of tingling, a little bit of numbness on both those sides. So it kind of aggravated things. I don't think it really helped. I told her, I'll go back in a couple of days. I told her I'm willing to try the stimulation again, although I do not want to use ice. I want to use heat this time with it and see if that makes a little bit of a difference. And that if I wind up hurting as much as I did yesterday after this, we're not doing e-stimulation because it was pretty bad. I couldn't sit still, I couldn't stand, I couldn't lay. I did my normal exercises for my back because I've had low lumbar back pain in the past. And during that time, when I had that therapy, the therapist, we did normal back strengthening exercises as well as some of the ones that you use for sciatica. It did not help that day. Today I'm doing a little bit better. I've upped the exercises, so I'm doing them now 4 times a day instead of just twice a day like they had wanted. And I'm having less pain with my back, so that's a good sign. Even though the exercises for strengthening my back actually aggravate, when I do the ones for the sciatica, it actually helps. So, go figure. And then with having fibromyalgia on top of that, everything is sore. I'm using lidocaine patches at night, so I can get a couple hours of sleep. So it's a real good, a real interesting experience. I'm not real happy with the whole thing, but gotta do what you gotta do to get better. I'm going to move on to whips in progress because since I don't have a whole lot of other things to show, this is something that I'm doing in Tunisian. It is a scarf that I've started, and it's basically Tunisian simple stitch and Tunisian reverse simple stitch, which I'd never done before. And it's quite interesting how easy it is once you've done it and practiced it a couple times. This scarf starts with a foundation of 14 plus 2 for each section. So this one started out with 30 stitches, and I'm kind of liking the way it's going. It did curl a little bit. I didn't expect it to curl at all, but it's okay. It's Tunisian. What are you going to do? So I had started that. I started another scarf, with the brown to go with some of those hats that I had done. And that is really just a dark brown. It's not black, it's really just dark brown. I would call it it's not chocolate, I would call it a dark brown. And then I decided that I wanted to do the Annandale blanket. Well, I found the yarn that I wanted for it, and I'm enjoying that yarn. And it's kind of interesting. Nicole does give you some information about what she calls those braided stitches. She calls it a six cross braid stitch. The problem is she gives you going one way, actually doing the cross braid, but she doesn't do anything to tell you how to pick up the stitches when you're coming back. It took me, and this is only 5 rows of that Annandale blanket. It has taken me 1 full day to get 5 rows because I've ripped out, went back in, ripped out. I went on YouTube looking for some other explanations because I don't have a problem with doing it when you're creating this cross. Problem is when you're coming back, because everything is kind of curled forward, you have to figure out which stitches you need to pick up to bring the braid back up. And I haven't found a video on YouTube that shows that. So, you almost need something that not only teaches you how to do that 6 cross braid stitch, but you need something that shows you coming back that'll bring that curl out and bring up that forward. I finally got what I think is the correct way. Like I said, I don't know. There's no telling. I have wanted to do some more mittens to do with those hats and some more scarves. I do have some yarn in my stash that I need to use up, and I plan on using that. I am on a self-imposed yarn diet, which means I will not be purchasing any yarn unless it is necessary to complete one of these projects. It won't be like what I've done in the past, buying yarn, going wacko crazy. So, I'll be backing off on that for a little while, just because I want to get some of this stash out of here. I have so much here. I teased my son one time that I'm just one tub away from being on a hoarders episode, and that eventually, if I don't watch it, I'll be drowning under all my yarn, as it towers and falls over me. So I'm trying to avoid that and cutting back on that, to get some of this used up. That I can't use up, I'm thinking about just throwing into a giveaway and doing some impromptu giveaways here and there. You never know with me, I'm kind of crazy like that. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit today about, I've noticed on several of the podcasts they've been talking about that mandala is no longer being made by Lion Brand, that Walmart's no longer selling it, that Lion Brand is discontinued it, it's now Cupcake. Folks, sometimes you have to go to the sources to find out what's going on. So I contacted Lion Brand and I told them what I was wanting to know and why I was wanting to know this, because I know I like the mandala and the mandala baby yarns. I also like the cupcakes. They're very different types of yarn colorage putting together, that kind of thing. What I was told by the representative is no, Lion Brand is not at this time planning on discontinuing the mandala or the mandala baby yarn. It is not being rebranded as Cupcake Yarn. Cupcake Yarn is a different designation of that yarn. It is a DK weight, that number 3 weight, just like the mandala, but they are continuing all three of those lines. And, the representative told me that was the plan so far for the next 6 months that they knew about. After that, who knows? I would imagine they would not discontinue a yarn that is extremely popular. I mean, seriously, if you're a yarn company and you're making a yarn that's very popular, to discontinue it is kind of like cutting your own throat. Doesn't even make sense. Then I contacted Walmart, which, Walmart, when you go to the website, you expect to be able to find the telephone number for regional offices or the big office if you're wanting to talk to someone. No, they don't have that anymore. I actually had to go into Walmart and get it from my Walmart manager to get that information. So initially, when I had contacted Walmart online, they send you into this chat room with a representative, and I had asked, are they going to discontinue selling the Mandela yarns in the stores? In the physical stores. What they came back with was, because I had ordered that Moon Magic online through Walmart because it was the cheapest, that they wanted to know if I wanted more of that yarn delivered for pickup or if I wanted it delivered to my home. And I said, that's not what I asked you. I asked you if the physical stores were going to stop selling the Mandela yarns from Lion Brand. So I realized initially when I was asked that question that it was actually what you call a bot that was answering the question. After that, when I re-asked the question, they told me that they were going to put me on hold for the next 2 to 3 minutes while they found the answer. Then I actually got a physical person through online. And what I was told is that they were discontinuing the Mandela line completely. I said that's not the information I got from Lion Brand. So I wanted to know if it was just Walmart that was stopping the sale of those yarns in the physical stores. What I was told is it looks like over the next year they are going to be phasing that out in the Walmart stores, that many of those stores where you're getting the cotton blend by Lion Brand, it's already been phased out. Those stores that have not been started in with cotton blend lines, they will be phased out gradually once the warehouses are emptied. And that's the information that I was looking for. I confirmed that by calling the top office, and yes, indeed, they are eventually going to phase that out. May take a year, may take a year and a half, because they have it in a lot of the warehouses around the United States. So that's the information that I found, because it drives me nuts when people are saying it's changed, it's no longer Mandela, it's now Cupcake. No, Cupcake is a different line. It is very different from Mandela and from Mandela Baby. Those are still continuing, according to the person that I talked to at Lion Brand. So, I hope that clears things up for folks. I don't know if it will. I mean, you never know. They may change things. They get kind of nutsy about that. I do hope that you enjoyed the butterfly farm from last week. I do apologize for getting very emotional about the subject that I talked about last week, but I had to get some things off my chest about that. I do think that we need to be kinder in our words. We have seen a lot of discourse. You can't even have a civil discussion about anything anymore. Lately, we've just been turning the TV off because who wants to watch it? So, with that, keep in mind to keep, the nice, softer tones. Let's learn to be civil to each other again. I don't care what political party you belong on. My knitting group is a very diverse group. Some of us are liberal, some of us are conservative, some of us are extreme left. But we find a way to get along. And when we have disagreements that are political or whatever, we choose to drop it because we know we're very passionate about those things, and that's okay to be passionate about something. But it's not okay to take it out on each other with unkind words. So if you cannot have a civil discussion, I think you should table it and move on. And not only that, our group has started, I do an exercise group Mondays and Tuesdays, and then lots of times we do Tai Chi on Friday. And then during the summer, one of the woman's son has a pool and he does some water aerobics. I chose not to go to the water aerobics today because I'm hurting so badly. So I'm going to skip that, although they think that it won't hurt things for me to do that. So I plan on getting back into that Thursday. That's it for this episode. Next Tuesday is going to be an interesting day because I have bingo. And I just don't know if then, after bingo I want to do my exercises. So maybe I'll film the day before on Monday instead of going to the water aerobics on Tuesday. Because I normally film on Tuesday and then get it up that same day. So I may be filming Monday and you'll see it Tuesday. I really don't know. Haven't decided yet how I'm going to do that. But whatever, I'll see you next week. So with that, I'll say goodbye. Everybody have a great, fantastic week. And see you next week. Bye.